welcome to my channel. My name is Allison and this is a Vlogmas video. However, we are not going to be talking about Christmas today. We are going to be talking about nursing school. That's why I'm in my bedroom instead of in front of the Christmas tree. But if you haven't seen any of my last two videos, I have been complaining about finals, but finals are finally over. It's over. My first semester of nursing school is finally done and I'm literally like, I still can't believe it, honestly. Like, it's Saturday, I finished yesterday, and I feel like there's something I should be doing. I just still have that feeling like it's not over, but it is. I have all my grades back except for one class, and that class is, I know I passed it. I would have had to make a 20 on the final to not have passed. So, I definitely passed, but yeah. So, if you hear banging on the door, that is my dog upset because she cannot come in. But today I just wanted to do a small little semester recap so that I can look back on it. And then I'm also going to be talking to you guys about what you need to know before you start nursing school. I feel like I learned a lot this semester. I learned a lot about myself, about my study habits, and then I learned a lot like pertaining to nursing school. So I wanted to talk about things that I think you can do to prepare for your first semester in nursing school. I know a lot of schools start in January, so a lot of you who may be about to start nursing school, or maybe you're going to be starting nursing school in the fall, in August, and you're just ready to start preparing. And so we're going to be talking about that. And yeah, so let's get started. So like I said, I just finished my first semester of nursing school. I feel like I'm slouching a lot because I'm just sitting on my bed. I'm sorry. But this semester I took Adult Health Theory 1, which is basically, I think the equivalent to other schools. It would be like fundamentals, or I want to say med-surg, but we're taking a med-surg class next semester, and I honestly don't know the differences between them. I'm going to have to start doing some research about that, but it's based, I think Adult Health Theory 1 is something that you would be taking, like, basically going to be your general, like, first semester. I think they just call it different things. So, I took that. That was definitely my hardest class. It was a lot. I mean, we learned about a lot of stuff, and, I did end up making a B in that class, which I am very proud of. And yeah, it was difficult, it was different, but it was also the most fun class because that was where we learned about the diseases and like the interventions and all that. And it was the class that I was like really enjoyed studying and reading. And when I was actually like studying for my final, I was disappointed that I didn't have actual material and like chapters to be reading because I really enjoyed that. So that's the first class I took. I also took a pharmacology class. That class was not difficult. I have heard from a lot of other people that class is the hardest class that you take, and it is also, I don't even know how to explain this without like giving too much away. Basically, our class was it wasn't something that we had to study for. It was very simple. And I think the reason for that was just the professor. And I don't want to go too much into it because I am posting this on the internet and like I can't talk full details about like exams and homeworks and stuff. It just wasn't what I was expecting in the beginning when I first started, because I had heard from everybody that pharmacology is like so difficult. I was studying a lot, and I am going to be studying more for pharmacology over the break. Again, I just can't talk a lot about it because I'm not even allowed to tell you guys where I go to school. It's just my school's rule. So, yeah. Anyways, it was different. I also do think I kind of have an edge on pharmacology because I worked in a pharmacy for 4 years. And so, mostly when I say I have an edge, it's just like I know the names of a lot of drugs. I know kind of what they're used for. And I know like some side effects that you would watch out for. So that helps me, I think. But yeah, pharmacology for me this semester was just not a lot. And that's all I'm going to say about that. The other classes I took were the practical classes you take. So there was a skills class. It was a skills class. I really enjoyed learning the skills, but then we didn't get to practice most of them because the class was all online thanks to the pandemic. I did have 3 checkoffs. I had a head-to-toe assessment checkoff, which I'm going to be studying a lot. I just don't feel like I really have that down. We did a medication administration checkoff, which included injections, which I did pass, but I technically failed it the first time because I recapped my insulin needle, which, just funny story, like most needles have a safety thing on it. So you like flip it up or you press a button and the needle like retracts into the syringe or whatever. This needle didn't have that, and it just like threw me off. I was so stressed out, I was literally shaking. And so I recapped it with like the scoop method on the table, and I failed it. I had to do it again right then, and I passed. So I think I passed. And then we did a return demonstration, which is basically where you do it, but the professor like helps you, like they can work with you. And I did Foley's and wound care, super easy. Foley's are not easy, but it wasn't a complicated thing, especially because we had the professor's help. Then I also took clinicals. Clinicals were fun. We're going to talk about those. We're going to talk about clinicals in our things you need to know about nursing school. But then I also took a simulation class. That was easy. That was basically where you just like, the professor gives you a scenario and you're like working through the scenario. It was online. I wish it was in person. And then I'm trying to think if I took a professionalism class. That was just a part of my BSN, and it was not a lot. It was the dean of the school was teaching that class, and so he was like, we only had assignments due like every other week, and then our assignments ended in November so that we had plenty of time to study for other stuff. But that class we mostly just learned more about like the theory of nursing and stuff like that. And so yeah, so I did pass all my classes. I made B's in theory and professionalism because I didn't study a lot for professionalism. And then the rest of my classes I made A's. So yes, I was very excited. And yeah, that is my semester recap, life update, quick little thing. That was mostly for me to look back on next year when I graduate. All right, let's get into the things that you need to know before you start nursing school. Most of this is just advice, things to be like thinking about, things that you need to figure out, and then I have some practical advice for you guys. So the first thing you need to know about nursing school is just one of those things that you need to be thinking about and get in your head, and that is that clinicals are not as fun as you might think. I was super excited about clinicals because I was ready to just get into the hospital and get stuff done. But clinicals can be really stressful because, number one, you're like actually doing stuff to people, and it is fun. Like giving your first injection is fun. Like I was so excited the first time I actually got to like do a bed bath and change a person's like put new sheets on a person's bed and give them new clothes and do oral care and all that, because it was actual nursing stuff and it was fun. But it is scary too. Like I had a big problem because the hospital we were at was a very like, it was a lot of people who were really sick, who were really elderly, not really elderly, but elderly. And a lot, like most of them had some form of like dementia or just like didn't know what was going on. And so I had a big problem with going in and doing stuff to them, like just for practice, like going in and doing head to toe assessments or like moving them and stuff like that, because they're in pain. And I just like felt like I was taking advantage of them personally. The reason I say that is just because that was just me. Like I know a lot of my classmates and a lot of the professors and even my parents and my husband have been like, that's what you're there for. Like you have to learn, and like they understand that. But I don't know. We did have some people who were more coherent or had family who were coherent, and everybody was super nice as far as patients go. But yeah, it was not as exciting as I thought, just because I had this like fear of unnecessarily hurting a patient. And like I understand that when you're a nurse, like you have to do things that patients don't like. But for me, like the nurse would go in and do her head to toe assessment for her day and like get her vitals and everything like that, and then she'd go do her stuff, and then I was supposed to go in and do it again. And I just didn't like that because I felt like what I was doing was completely unnecessary. So yeah. The other thing is that I just expected, I don't know, I know that there are mean nurses out there, and I just didn't expect them to be so mean. Like we just had nurses who just griped at us constantly. Didn't like, one day that nurse would be like, I want you to come talk to me before you do anything to my patient. And then the next time we would be in there, I would go ask the nurse before I did something, and he would like yell at me for asking him or whatever. Like, it was just a lot. And so I think when you go into nursing school, you are just so excited. You feel like it's going to be awesome. And it's not always awesome. It's not always awesome. And like, the reason I say that you need to know that clinicals are not as fun as you might think is just to like, be prepared. Be prepared for like patients to yell at you, for nurses to yell at you. Be prepared to, especially your first couple of clinicals, be prepared to not do a lot. Be prepared to stand and watch. And yeah, my advice for making it better is ignore the nurses. Like, ignore if they're yelling at you. Ignore if they're rude to you. Don't think about that. Just think about that you were there to learn. I tried to have that mindset of that I am here to learn and I want to do as much as I possibly can. And so anytime a nurse walked by, I would, do you need any help? Not anytime. Sometimes I was scared of them. In case anyone from my clinical watches this, sometimes I was scared of them and I didn't want to talk to them. But like, asking if you can do stuff, volunteering to do stuff, like just jumping in when you can is the best thing that you can do. And I had classmates who were so much better at that than me, that got to see so much more stuff because they just like jumped in. They just went for it. So I tried to do that. And again, I had a little bit of anxiety about that, but do that. Like, be the person who is going to raise their hand and volunteer for anything, and you will learn so much, even if the nurses don't want you to learn. That's it. The next couple of things I have for you are a bit more practical. The first is figure out how you study. So nursing school is so different from studying for your prereqs. Like, for me, when I was studying anatomy, it was all memorization. It was all just me memorizing the names of the bones and where they are, the names of the muscles and where they are. It was just memorizing over and over and over and over. Nursing school is different because you do have to memorize, you do have to learn, but you have to learn to a point of being able to apply it. You can't just learn the like simple assessment or whatever. Like, you have to learn what it is, what you're doing, why you're doing it, when to do it, when not to do it, like stuff like that. It's different. And so you can take what you were doing from studying in your prereqs and continue to do that in nursing school, but there does have to be like a change and a growth. And I think you can start doing that now, whether you're in your first semester or your last semester of prereqs, or whether, you know, you're about to start nursing school in January and you just have a little time to start practicing, or whether you have 6 months, a year before you start nursing school, you're still getting your prereqs done. There are things you can start doing now to be preparing. Practical advice for you that I have to do that is, number one, read books. So I've told you guys before about the Vital Skills book I read in my intro to nursing class a couple years ago. That book was awesome. That book definitely helped me like get some habits down before nursing school started that I wanted to do. One of those things is being that I tried to read all of my material before lecture because it helped me understand what was going on when we went into lecture. So that's one of the things that I recommend, but just learn. And another thing that you can do is just watch videos. I plan on posting in January a video of like how I study. So be watching for that. You can go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now, and that will allow you to, you'll see that when that video comes. And if you like this video and you're enjoying the content that I am giving you, give me a thumbs up so that I know that you like it, and I know to make other videos like this. Anyways, so I plan on making a video in January about how I study, but go ahead and like look for videos on how to study and look at different things, because what I found is I was able to say like, oh, I like how this person does that, and I did that, and I like what this book said, and I did that, and then I used to do this and it worked for me. And so it just helps you put in. You're gonna study differently for every class anyway. Like, how I studied for adult health and how I studied for pharmacology were different. And so getting an idea of what you can do to study, getting some practical study tips, and start learning those is a great idea. I definitely think figuring out like, do I need to read every single word in that book, or do I just need to read the main points? Do I need to study by writing every single thing down, or do I need to study by just like reading it out loud? Just figure that out. Practical stuff, it's gonna help you a ton. a ton. Okay, so the next thing that I have for you is another practical thing, and that is what to start studying. Yes, you need to start studying now, and you don't have to start studying now. You're not gonna fail if you don't start studying a month, 6 months, a year before you start nursing school, but it is gonna help you a lot. Before I started, I definitely wanted to start studying and learning, but I didn't know what to learn, and so I have what you need to learn. The first thing that you need to learn, or study, is your A&P, your anatomy, your physiology. It is gonna help you so much. It's not like impossible to pass nursing school without having pre-studied that stuff, and it is a prereq. Like, you did learn it already, and then that's gonna help you. But it's just gonna give you that edge. It's just gonna take your studying from like here to here. It's gonna help you. For anatomy, start reviewing all of your body systems. Start reviewing the chambers of the heart, how the blood flows, review how oxygenation happens in the lungs, all of that stuff. Review the brain. In your first semester of nursing school, you're gonna go over basically all of the major body systems, so just review it. Just get it in your head, get it going, and it's gonna help you a lot. I found myself, when we would start a new body system, I would be spending 2-3 hours relearning it, just going back over it, and it would have just taken that time away. I would have had that time to actually study the material that was going to be on our test. It just helps you. It really does, to just have that little edge. Physiology is another thing. I found myself, I would read the sentence of the disease process, the pathophysiology. I'd read it, and I'd be like, what? I wouldn't remember what half of the words in the sentence were. So I would have to Google them, I'd have to look it up. And so it's just gonna help you, like I said, it's just gonna give you a little bit of an edge to review that stuff. Doesn't have to be crazy, doesn't have to be like you know every single thing about the body. Just review it, just like start going over it. Get out your old anatomy book, or your old, I still have my book from anatomy that was just all the body parts that we used for lab. Review that, review stuff like that. Just get it going again, and it's gonna help you a lot. The next thing that you can start learning that is really, really gonna help you is medical terminology. I had to take a medical terminology for my undergrad degree. I don't know if it's a prereq for my college. I don't know if it's a prereq for all colleges, but it would help you so much. I can't express how much learning that medical terminology would help you. Just words like polyuria, hypoxia, just those dyspnea. Those are words that you don't hear every day, but are going to be on your test. And in your book, it's gonna explain what polyuria is. It's gonna explain, but then and when you're studying, it might just say increased frequency of urination. But then on your test, it's gonna say polyuria. And you might learn that stuff just from studying for your exam anyway, but just knowing that stuff, and you don't have to know every word, but just knowing some of that stuff and getting kind of an edge is gonna help you a lot. It's just gonna help you with your exams. It's gonna help you with just not having to think about what those words mean. And that's another thing with your anatomy. Do I know where the ulna is? Yes, I know where the ulna is. But when I think about where is the ulna, I think about it's a bone in your arm, and it's the ulna. So if you just have learned that stuff and kind of gone over it, when you see it on your test and you see ulna and you just know immediately where that is without having to think through it, it's just going to help you out a lot. So that's why I think you need to start learning that stuff. And then medical terminology, it's the same thing. When you don't have to sit there and try to remember what polyuria is and you just know it, it's going to help you on your exams. It's going to help you with your studying a lot. The next thing that you can start studying now is just the simple stuff like where things are in the body, learning where you're going to be listening to breath sounds, where you're going to be listening to the heart. Start kind of listening to that stuff online. There are some good videos, some not so good videos, but just kind of listening to it, learning what crackles sound like, what bronchi sounds like, that kind of stuff is just gonna help you a lot. So just don't think too much about specifically what you need to learn. That's kind of what hurt me, I think, when I was trying to pre-study for nursing school, is I wanted to think I need to start learning about hypertension and everything about hypertension. No, you don't need to learn about specific diseases. You don't need to learn about specific medications. Just start making sure you have that really good foundation of your prereqs. Look back on your prereqs, specifically your science stuff, you know, your anatomy, physiology, genetics, maybe not, but like medical terminology, stuff like that that you had to know, and study that. Make sure you have that good, basic, solid foundation, and it's just gonna take you, it's gonna take your studying from here to here. It's gonna take your knowledge, just give you that extra little that you need. Just trust me on that one. The next thing that you need to know, you need to start figuring out before you start nursing school is how you de-stress. Nursing school is stressful. We're going to talk about that in a second. Nursing school is stressful. It is. So if you can figure out what it is that helps you calm down, helps you relax, it's going to help you a lot. I felt throughout most of my semester that I had my stress pretty under control. Nursing school is the only thing I'm doing right now. I don't have kids. I'm married, but I don't have kids to worry about. I don't have a job right now. It's all nursing school. So that helps me a lot. But if I had had kids, if I was working a job, it would have been much more stressful. And when I got to finals, I was very stressed. And there were things I had to do to de-stress. You just have to. So get things all the way down from the basic of like little things that you can do during the day when you start feeling that stress rise, to things that are bigger that you need to relax, like getting your hair done, getting your nails done. Just figure out a couple of things. Some practical advice I have for you is like, if there is something that you can do every single day that helps you de-stress. For me, my night routine was a big one. Like having that time to myself, to relax, to read, to drink my delicious nighttime tea and go to bed at a decent time. That helped me de-stress every night, and that helped me a lot. For some people, maybe it's working out. Maybe working out helps you de-stress, and you need that to keep your mental health at a good spot. Pencil that in. Make your de-stress time, make your self-care a priority, because you're gonna need that. You're gonna need time to yourself. You're gonna need time to just get all of your emotions out. And so if you have kids, if you work a full-time job, if you're super busy, and maybe that de-stress moment that you have is just drinking your coffee in the morning, make that a priority. Make it a priority to be alone, drink your coffee, and just scroll through TikTok if that's what you need to do, to just let your mind have a few minutes of like nothing. Another advice is like, if you are during your study time, if you're starting to get stressed out and you're noticing that stress is taking over, I'm one of the type of people who, when I start getting stressed, like really stressed, like when my stress is like really up here, I cannot study, because all I'm thinking about when I'm studying is that I'm not learning. All I'm thinking about when I'm studying is that I don't know this, I don't know it, and I'm not going to know it for the test, and I'm going to fail, and like I just start to spiral. And so for me, those are the moments where I have to just stop studying. I have to. And so maybe it's a little bit of like, you stop studying for 20 minutes and you go for a walk. Or maybe like during my finals week, I got so stressed, like the most stressed I have ever been for an exam. And so there were times I had to stop. I had to just watch TV. I had to just like go run errands. I couldn't run any errands really because, you know, pandemic. But just like get away from it. And during finals week, I really didn't study that much because I was stressed out, and it wasn't productive. And you need to recognize that. You need to recognize when your stress has reached that point, and then go do something to help that stress, help you de-stress, so that you can be at your best. Make self-care a priority, okay? You cannot help anyone until you help yourself. That is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you got some practical advice. I really tried to be practical. So I hope that you got some practical advice for starting nursing school, for things that you need to know, and for things if you already are in nursing school, I hope I gave you some advice of what to do to get ready for next semester. And yeah, so if you liked this video, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and keep coming back. This is a Vlogmas video, so I do have another video coming up in 2 days, so be looking up for that. And if you like my nursing school related videos, keep looking forward to future nursing school videos. I didn't do a lot of videos this semester because imposter syndrome, that's why I didn't. But next semester, I want to do more videos because I think that these videos are really fun to watch. They're really motivating to me just to even watch like a day in my life in nursing school. It motivates me to study and motivates me to do what I need to do. So I hope to make more videos like that next semester. So yeah, that is all, and I'll see you later.